What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. What's good? This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, especially if you guys are new. If you're new to the fold, if you're new to the cloth, I appreciate you for being here. Hopefully you're here for a long time and not just a good time. So make sure you guys stay engaged, especially in that live chat. Make sure you guys are sharing the content. Make sure you're commenting, even if you're watching this on the playback. Maybe you can't catch me live. That's all good. I see you and I hear you and I appreciate you. If you're tuned in on the playback via YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you guys leave a comment. Make sure you guys give me your opinion. Give me your thoughts, whether you agree, disagree, or you're indifferent. Say what's up. Say what's good. That's all it is, man. Just make sure you guys keep that engagement at an all-time high. And I couldn't be more grateful to be here with you guys. I do not take my position. I do not take my role. I do not take this opportunity for granted. Some people use their platform for evil. I like to use mine for good and a little bit of entertainment at that. So make sure you guys stay engaged. Couldn't be more happy to be here with you guys today. Today is Thursday, June 5th. And man, the news just keeps on rolling. The Eagles are a gift that keeps on giving. And the thing is, this isn't even something the Philadelphia Eagles provoked, but we're going to get into it. We're not going to waste any time here. You saw the thumbnail. You know why you're here. I know why you're here. CJ Gardner-Johnson, CJ Gardner-Johnson, CD Deuce. He had some comments for not just Vic Fangio, but the Philadelphia Eagles as a whole. Now, let me add some context to this thing. CJ Gardner-Johnson has had a very fascinating career. Very fascinating career. He was drafted, make sure I got this right here. He was drafted in the 4th round by the New Orleans Saints in the 2019 NFL Draft. He spent 3 seasons in New Orleans before he was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles in 2022. During that 2022 campaign, CJ played in 12 games in the regular season, and was able to be a instrumental part of that Eagles defense going into the playoffs and throughout the season. My man was tied for the most interceptions in the NFL that season in 2022. He was very, very valuable to the Philadelphia Eagles. Very valuable. Then the Eagles decided to move on from him. Not via trade. He was due for a contract extension. The Philadelphia Eagles said, your price is a little steep. We want to pay you this. Negotiations went sour. He ended up going to the Detroit Lions in 2023, where he only appeared in 3 regular season games for them because he got hurt. And he was able to come back for the playoffs. So in total, he played about, 6 games? He played about 6 games for Detroit, 3 in the playoffs, 3 in the regular season. And even in Detroit, he was still effective in the playoffs. He had an interception in the regular season through 3 games. I mean, he was effective for him when he was available. But then the 2024 offseason comes, and him and the Eagles are able to bury the hatchet. They're able to rekindle that love for each other. And the Philadelphia Eagles bring back CJ GJ on a 3-year deal. A 3-year deal that was actually very cost-effective at the time. He appeared in 16 games. The most games he's appeared in the season for the Philadelphia Eagles, 16 games. He put up 6 interceptions again. He had a crazy second half of the season. And he even was being considered for comeback player of the year, but he didn't crack the top 10 in voting. I think he was ranked 11th. Nonetheless, he was instrumental. He was pivotal. He was phenomenal. His leadership took a step forward in the second half of the season, in particular after he was ejected from the Commanders game. And he was important to the overall Eagles' success. Let's not get it twisted. We loved CJ GJ. We love present tense. We love CJ GJ. He ain't never got to pay for another cheesesteak in the city again. We got mad love for that guy. Facts. We understand the skill set. We know his value. When he got traded to the Houston Texans for a guard and a draft pick, Eagles fans, we were upset. We didn't get it. We were confused. We were on your side, CJ. We said, damn, really? What's the real problem? What's the real issue? It can't just be about money. It can't just be about football. Is there something else going on behind the scenes? We don't know. We not in the building. We guessing. But even through all of that, even through all that turmoil, CJ became a Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles. And even though then things went sour and he got traded to the Texans, he went live on Twitch. And he said himself, I repeat, he said himself, it wasn't no love lost. It wasn't no bad blood. Them young guys just got to get paid down there. He said that. He gave the impression that it was all good. He understood what the situation was. He even took it a step further and said, I didn't ask for a specific place. I want to play winning football. I woke up the next day and boom, there it is. We in Houston. He said the situation is them young guys just got to get paid in Philly. Me getting older, I understand. There was no bad blood. So he understood, apparently. That's what he said. We're going off what he said. Regardless of what we think happened, he said he understood. It's all good. No love lost. We're champions together. Them young guys got to eat. I ain't mad at that. They traded me somewhere where I could play winning football, where I could play competitive football. I'm good. And that's what Howie Roseman does, man. Even when things go a little sour for whatever reason, he still sends you somewhere where you can eat. He sends you somewhere where you can be effective and play relevant football. The Houston Texans are relevant. The Houston Texans are a very relevant football team. They're more relevant than the Cowboys. Let's call it what it is. The only reason the Cowboys are relevant is because they're the Cowboys. That's it. Not because of their performance or their play or their production. The Houston Texans are relevant because they win football games, because they're in the playoffs, because they win their division. The Cowboys, different conversation. They're the Kardashians of the NFL, but I digress. But CJ GJ, after Vic Fangio's recent press conference, where Vic Fangio was asked about the CJ GJ trade, and Vic Fangio said, hey, as far as I know, it was a salary cap move. I'm okay with it. He said, I'm okay with it. Vic Fangio. He said, hey, that's Howie's wheelhouse. As far as I know, it was a salary cap move. I'm okay with it. Vic Fangio didn't say nothing left or right or up or down. He didn't say nothing crazy. Vic Fangio didn't jump out the window and disrespect him. He said, hey, if it's a salary cap move, I'm okay with it. Doesn't sound too crazy to me. Doesn't sound too off-putting to me. But something about that got under CJ GJ's skin. Something about that rubbed him the wrong way. All these months later, something about it bothered him. We're in June. That trade happened when? In March? In March. We're in June. April, May, June. 3 months later. Come on now, what we doing? But nonetheless, CJ GJ took it upon himself to comment on what Vic Fangio said about the situation. And again, Vic Fangio really didn't say much. But as we all know, it don't really take much for CJ Gardner-Johnson to take it there. Hey, what Kendrick say? You take it there, I'm taking it further. That's basically how CJ GJ move. Hey, you take it there, I'm taking it further. Okay, all right. All right. We got you. We got you. We feel you. And again, before I get into his comments, we know CJ was valuable to this team. We got love for you, brother. We did not want you to go. Your personality, your gravitas, your swag, your juice, your energy, what you bring to the table, that shit talking mentality, we love that. This is Philly, you feel me? We love that. We feed off that. So don't ever get it twisted with us. We want you. We wanted you here, but the deal got done. The move got made. And the Philadelphia Eagles made their bed. They got to lay in it. Even at the expense of you. The Philadelphia Eagles drafted a young safety, an Andrew Makuba, someone who's similar to your ilk. Now, that all has to be proven on the football field. But for what we've learned and researched about Andrew Makuba, he's of your ilk. That aggressive, that fierceness, that swagger, that juice, that intensity on the football field. That guy that plays with confidence, flies around, physical, fearless. Yeah. We basically drafted a younger version of you. But we'll find out how good he is later on. But regarding CJ's comments, when it comes to what Vic Fangio said, when Vic Fangio said it was a salary cap move and that he was okay with it, CJ took it upon himself to say, I was a test dummy for them. He posted this on his Instagram story. He said, and I quote, I was a test dummy for them. So now they can be like, my scheme works. Or did my skill set make it work? I had zero issues. People had issues with me. So yeah, let the salary cap be the excuse. Let's take it piece by piece. Let's take it piece by piece. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. You guys are tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. If you're new to the show, I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you're here for a long time and not just a good time. Check me out on TikTok. Check me out on Instagram. We going up, baby. Be a part of the movement. He says, I was a test dummy for them. So now they can be like, my scheme works, or did my skill set make it work? Let's stay there for a second. Let's stay there for a second. Okay. Let me process this for a moment. CJ, you played football for a long time. You know the game way more than I do. You know the game way more than I do. You know all the nuances, all the wrinkles, all the crevices, all the nooks and crannies. You know everything about this game more than I, significantly more than I. You've forgotten more football than I know. So it surprises me when you say something like, I was a test dummy, so now they can be like, my scheme works, or did my skill set make it work? I think you're aware that coaches have a scheme that they want to execute. Or let me put you this way. Coaches have a scheme that they want to deploy. But you know this already. You know this, big dog. It's your world. I'm just analyzing it. I mean that sincerely, because I got love for you. Coaches, all coaches, be it offense or defense, special teams, they have schemes, they have concepts that they want to deploy. And in order to deploy that at a high level and an efficient level, they have to recruit, they have to sign, they have to draft, they have to trade for, they have to bring in the talent, the players, in order to make sure that scheme can be executed at a high level. So I don't know if that comment is a revelation to some, but in order for a scheme to work the way it's supposed to, you have to have the right players with the right skill set to make it work. CJ, I know you know this. So I'm not even going to pretend like you don't know this. You know this. So I'm really talking to my viewers here, but the last thing I want to do is insult your intelligence, brother. That's the last thing I want to do. I mean that sincerely. That's the last thing I want to do is insult your intelligence. But we all know from watching football for a long time, there's players who fit the scheme. There's players who don't fit the scheme. Bryce Huff, prime example. We tried to force that square peg into a round hole. Didn't really work out. But you fit perfectly. Your skill set made the scheme work. It helped the scheme be deployed at a high level. That's not a revelation. That's not some underhanded thing. But I think I understand what CJ's trying to say here. He's trying to say he made that defense, not the other way around. Basically saying he's not replaceable. And I can understand a player feeling that way. You have value in yourself. You trust your skill set. You trust your football acumen. I respect a player's confidence in knowing that they can be the reason why a team is successful. But it's also important to understand that your ego is not what drives the force. Your ego is not valuable to you in this moment. At some point, we all need to suffer an ego death. And right now, from my perspective, CJ is leading with ego. From my perspective. And I've defended CJ. I'm on record. When Slade didn't consider him a leader, or he, let me put it to you this way. When Slade excluded him from that leadership conversation, I defended CJ. And that was prior to the trade, of course, but I defended CJ. But now CJ is leading with ego because he believes that his skill set made the scheme work. Well, yes, CJ, you want people with the right skill set to execute the scheme. That's how it works. Let's get to the next part of it. He said, I had 0 issues. People had issues with me. What does that mean? Now we get into the meat and potatoes. Now we get into the crux of the conversation now. Now we get into the nitty gritty. Is this really about the scheme, CJ? Is this really about football, or is this about personalities? Is this about something off the field? Is this about that locker room? Now we get into it. I had 0 issues. People had issues with me. So yeah, let the salary cap be the excuse. Well, for one, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know the dynamics of all you guys' relationships. From what I've seen, CJ, you were a very good teammate. You always instilled confidence in your guys. You know, even prior to the Super Bowl, you came and brought Hurts, AJ Brown, Saquon, and Smitty. You bought them their high school jerseys, their custom high school jerseys. When you got ejected, your leadership took a exponential step forward. You understood your value to the team. You understood that you can't be a liability. The same thing that'll make you laugh and make you cry. I learned that from my man Barrett Brooks, Super Bowl champion, 10-plus year NFL veteran. I learned that from him. Same thing that'll make you laugh, make you cry. Same reason you're successful can be the reason why you fail. CJ is a passionate dude. I think we all can agree with that. He's passionate. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He talks a lot of ish. We know that. His teammates know that. The building knows that. When the Eagles beat the Saints in week 2, or was that week 3? Excuse me. When the Eagles beat the Saints in week 3 and that defense did what they did, CJ was the first one to say, we got the best secondary in football. We got the best defense in football. Y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see. He knew what he was talking about. And that same ego, that same confidence that he spoke with then is honestly doing him a disservice now. Because you got traded to a team that's fighting for something, that has won their division in back-to-back seasons, has a promising young quarterback. You got traded to one of the best defenses in football. An offense that actually has talent, a team that actually has promise. But I understand, though. You won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles, and you thought you were going to be here for a longer time than you were. And I respect that, and I understand that, and I believe you should be here still. But whatever was going on behind the scenes that us fans, us spectators are not privy to, whatever was going on behind the scenes, clearly it was something the Philadelphia Eagles felt like they didn't want no parts of anymore. And again, I want to say this to you, CJ, because you might hear this. You may or might not. I don't know. But I respect you. And I think that organization respects you, I think. But I think there's clearly something that you bring to the table that they no longer want to be served with. I personally don't think your contract was that difficult to manage, that is. So when the Eagles say it was a cap space issue or a salary cap issue, I actually believe you that it wasn't. That's the crazy thing about it all. I actually believe you that it wasn't just a salary cap issue. I think it was more than that. So take it from me, I'm not calling you a liar. I actually believe you. But I also believe that when something is done and it's buried, you got to move on. But who am I to tell you how to navigate your emotions? Who am I? I'm just a guy in his home studio, in his home office, talking through a microphone. I'm nobody. I'm nobody. I'm still earning my stripes in this game. I'm nobody. Who am I? But in my own life, I struggle with the same things you struggle with. I'll be honest. I'll be transparent. I'll be vulnerable. I struggle with the same things you struggle with. I personally, and I'm being honest with you guys that are listening here, I personally struggle with those who do me wrong. Because if I feel like you've done me wrong, I want to punish you. I want you to feel the wrath that I felt. I want you to feel the pain that I felt. That's something I struggle with. That's something I've been in therapy for. Learning how to deal with my frustration, learning how to handle disrespect, learning when to qualify something as disrespect or not. That's something I struggle with as a man. I'm willing to say that. I'm passionate. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Anybody that knows me, anybody that watches my content, anybody that's seen me in real life, any of my family know what's up. My family know what's up. My friends know what's up. They know how I carry it. Sometimes when they take it there, I take it further. That's my personality. I'm working on that. So I understand where CJ's coming from. Because I actually think he's correct. I actually think that it was more than just a salary cap decision. You know, I understand. I understand. It's frustrating. This was your second go around with the Eagles. You thought you figured it out. You thought you mastered your demons. You thought that this relationship was different. You actually won the Super Bowl this time. You felt like you had value. And you do have value. You do have value. Now you're valuable to another organization, though. And the Eagles still traded you somewhere where you can play relevant football, brother. They traded you to they traded you to one of the dopest cities in the country. They traded you to a team that's in a state with no state tax. You're gonna see more of that money. You're gonna see more of that money. They didn't trade you to Carolina. They didn't trade you to Tennessee, the Titans or something. They didn't trade you to Jacksonville. They traded you to a team that's relevant, that got something going on, that can win a lot of football games, that can not only compete for their division, for the conference. But I'm not here to tell you when you should and shouldn't move on. I'm just here to share that I relate, I understand where you're coming from, and I actually believe you. Now, let's get to your other comment. His other comment that was very interesting. He said, just don't do them young guys like y'all did me. Just don't do them young guys like y'all did me. CJ, what's the problem, man? You said you understood the situation. You said you was good with it. I don't think Vic Fangio said anything new that you didn't already know, but for some reason, I guess his comments reopened old wounds. We understand CJ can be an acquired taste. He's not for everybody. Everybody don't know how to handle a guy like that. When he broke down the team in the huddle at one of the practices before the NFC Championship, he said, y'all know I talk a lot of ish. They all was like, yeah, we know. We know. CJ, I want the best for you, brother, man. And I just wish that this was something that would stay buried. And I even hate that I'm even having this conversation with my viewership because we ain't got nothing bad to say about you. We know you talk trash. We know you could be a little abrasive. You could be a little brash. All right, cool. We can live with that. As long as you're performing, as long as you're doing your thing, we don't really care. But that organization, that Philadelphia Eagles team, they felt like they should move on. And CJ, you were healthy this year. You were phenomenal in the playoffs. You had a spectacular season. You're a Super Bowl champion. A Super Bowl champion. You were phenomenal. Stick to your word that it's no bad blood. You said it was no bad blood, let it be that. You said it was no bad blood, let it stay that way. Let it stay that way, man. Let it stay that way. Let me get to your comments. I'm going to hear what y'all got to say. Keisha White says here, he needs to learn how to be the bigger person. Yeah, that's a struggle for some people. That's even a struggle for me. KGK says, I don't get the problem. The team keeps saying it was about salary when we all know it was about his attitude. He just wants the team to say what it was. Hey, look, man, this is business at the end of the day. This is business. This isn't the schoolyard. This isn't high school. This isn't Real Housewives of it. This ain't that. This ain't Real Housewives of Philly. This ain't that. This is a business. And in business, there's certain things you don't say. Because here's the thing. This is what he doesn't realize. This is what some people don't realize. Let's just say they did it your way. Let's just say the Eagles said, yeah, he was a locker room problem. Let's just say they said that. Let's just say hypothetically they said that. He was a locker room problem. What does that do to his value, not just now, but in the long term? You see, we got to stop thinking with emotion, something I'm learning not to do. We got to stop thinking with emotion and stop thinking about just saying what it is, that we're not outside. We're not on the block. We're not in the schoolyard. This is business. It's called being a professional. Hypothetically, if the Eagles go out there and say exactly what they want him to say, or exactly what he wants them to say, what does that do to his value? Somebody tell me. What does that do to his earning potential? If the Eagles say he's a liability, he's a locker room cancer, he's a distraction, what does that do to his long-term value? Keisha White, you nailed it. It makes his value go down, and maybe no one wants him. Doomsday Corner, his value goes down. Why would a team not only self-sabotage, but why would they sabotage your present and your future? Because you want them to say what it really was. What are we talking about? Let's be for real. Let's be for real. If you work for me and things go sour for whatever reason, but let's just say it was because you had a bad attitude, and you move on to a new organization and they call me for a reference, and because I know you're a hard worker, because I know you do your job, because I know you're good at your job, I'm going to tell them that. Even if things went sour because of your attitude, even if things went sour because of your demeanor, I know you're a hard worker. I know you're a grinder. I know you get things done. Why would I sabotage your earning potential? Why would I do that? Honestly, it's easier for the Eagles to say, he wasn't good for the locker room. It's actually easier for them to say that. They don't lose nothing doing that. Only person got something to lose is you. Only person got something to lose is CJ. Ryan says, Tone, you're a fan of John McMullen. I know. He's been in the locker room with him. He literally said it wasn't about his play on the field, period. Most fans love CJ, but they haven't met him. Ryan, I'm not a fan of John McMullen. He's a friend. He's someone I consider a friend. So I'm not just a fan to John McMullen. He's a friend of mine. He's somebody I respect. He's somebody who's made himself available to my show on more than one occasion. He's not just, or I'm not just a fan of John McMullen. He's a friend. I love what he does. And he's been in this game for a long time doing phenomenal work. But Ryan, you do raise a good point. As much as we love CJ, we don't know him personally. That's another part about this thing people got to get too. As much as we love him, we don't know him personally. We don't know him personally. You know, they always say, never meet your heroes. And I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I don't know him. I don't know him. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I do not know him personally. But Ryan raises a good point. Most fans love him, but they haven't met him. Doomsday says he just didn't fit and we moved on. And it's time for him to do the same. I agree. It's time for him to move on. Relative Time Works says CJ GJ has changed addresses every year and made each defense he joined better. Unfortunately, if he had the ability to let it go, he'd probably keep the same address a few seasons in a row. Bruh, you're so right. You're so right. Back in the day when I was younger, I used to hear my parents say to my brother, hey, you're a good kid, but your attitude will get you in trouble. We growing up, we learned the hard way. My brother was a little more rough around the edges than I was. I'll just say that. My brother was more rough around the edges than I was. Some of us learned the hard way. Some of us didn't have to. But my parents said it to my brother a lot. You a good kid. You smart. But your attitude gonna get you in trouble. Hey, little bro, you know I love you, man. You know what it is with me. Rocky says, well, now I want to know what really happened. Bottom line is, I think Philly should have made it possible for him to return. Like, dang. Well, look, he was under contract. They just decided to move on. My man Joey Shakes is in the building. Joey Shakes 72 was good, my guy. He says, we all deal with adversity a different way. Facts, bro. I'm learning. I'm learning every day, man. D. Aldridge says, CJ not playing around. He ain't. He ain't taking no shorts. He ain't leaving no stone unturned. Okay. What? What is going on, bro? Sweet Chin Music says, I do find it interesting that it's been suggested that he was an issue in the locker room, but the issues in the locker room showed when he wasn't there. Interesting. That deserves a case study. To your point, Sweet Chin Music, I think the larger issue in 2023 was people weren't buying into the coaching, in particular on defense. I think that was the real issue. People weren't buying into the coaching, and that led to guys not doing their jobs at a high level. But I do believe you raise a very interesting point. I will admit that. Quadir Ali, he says, great point, Tone. CJ wanted us to say it wasn't a salary cap issue. Makes no sense. There's no, it doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't serve anybody for the Eagles to say what it really was. That's overrated. We got to stop moving like that. That's an overrated position. Say what it really is. Well, if I say what it really is, you may not be able to make no more money. If I say what it really is, hey, your current team might cut you at the first sign of trouble. Why would I do that to you? Why would I make more trouble for me? Dominic Mason, she says here, even the fans love CJ, but he has to chill with this because we are Eagles fans first. That is a fact. That is a fact. We are Eagles fans first. Dominique also thinks that the Eagles were trying to win the same way they won in 2022, and it was frustrating. She also says the best thing about the collapse in 2023 is that we learned from it, and we are not staying complacent. That's a fact. Sean Glenn says the dude's a headache and a drama queen. I can't really debate you on that right now, man. He's not doing himself any favors. Quentin Field says that may harm him more than help. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Like the Eagles saying what it really was doesn't help you, CJ. It doesn't help. James Fell says, personally, I want to roll with Sidney and Makuba, but if Jay Simmons is cheap, I say bring him in. Hey, according to Vic Fangio, this competition isn't just between Sidney Brown and Andrew Makuba. This competition is also including Tristan McCullum. Now, here's the thing. The Eagles are trying to find out what they have. And they're going to learn more about these guys as training camp unfolds and the preseason, right? Typically, a team is going to try to find out what they have, and then if they feel like they're not secure enough at a position, then they'll make a move. You feel what I'm saying? So, nothing's set in stone quite yet. Ray Bailey says here, bro, the more CJ talks, the more we see why he isn't here. Buddy is a head case fan. Dog, I got love for CJ, but he got to fall back. He got to live his life. He has to focus on his present. He can't focus on his past. He has to turn the page. Because if your current organization sees that you're still focused on your previous organization, you become a liability. You see, your current team, they gotta deal with you now. And just because you're talking about the Eagles or your comments are targeted towards the Eagles, that doesn't mean your current organization is okay with you saying that. Because regardless of how you slice it, it's a distraction. And the Houston Texans are focused on competing for a Super Bowl. They're focused on competing for their conference. CJ, you're on a good team. A very good team with a very good defense, a very good quarterback, a very strong running game, very good wide receiver room. Good coaching, great coaching. You're not in a bad place. You got your money, you got your Super Bowl ring. You're forever immortalized in Philadelphia. We know what it is. We don't get there without you. We know. But you gotta let it go. Relative Time Work says Fangio also had an opportunity to take a higher road. He could have left it at we must make tough choices every year and we wish him the best. But he sent a little dig with I'm okay with the decision. Time Works. I guess it's all about perspective, right? I can see how somebody would want to take that as a dig, but it doesn't have to be a dig if you don't want it to be. It doesn't have to be a dig if you don't want it to be. You feel what I'm saying? They asked him, how did you feel about the move? It was a salary cap move. I'm okay with it. He didn't say I was great with it or whatever. He said, I'm okay with it. You know, I'm okay with it. Everything doesn't have to be a dig. If you don't want it to be. Monica Lewis says these players know in today's sports their job is temporary, at least 3 years, because owners, fans, and media, etc., wants wins now. No more patience like it was 15 and 20 years ago. Bro, Monica, for one, you're absolutely right. But you know, clearly whatever happened behind the scenes, CJ wasn't vibing with, and they decided to move on because they weren't vibing with it either. James Fell says, huge fan of you, Tone, LB, and Simone, the Link Up Squad. So keep up the great work. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for your kind words. Alex says Houston has to be taking notice of this if in the future CJ is in the balance of getting cut or not. Exactly. Exactly. You have to take that into consideration. Teams don't want headaches. They don't want distractions. Whatever he thinks he's doing, it's not working. Sweet Chip Music says, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm with you on that. KGK says, I think CJ talking about us actually fuels him. That's what makes him tick. Yeah, but you got to find a new source of your fuel, bro. You gotta find new motivators. Delco Green says, Tone, could that comment about just don't treat the young ones like that be a way of dividing the Eagles locker room? I mean, he's not in the locker room, but I understand what you're trying to say. Look, the reality is CJ is a unique brother. And whatever he does say, it's not going to hold any water. And the reason I say that is because these young brothers are focused on learning a playbook. They're not worried about what CJ said. With all due respect, like they're focused on learning a playbook. They're focused on trying to have a long-term NFL career. They not paying CJ comments no mind. They got too much that they still trying to learn where their apartment is. They still trying to get the playbook down. They still trying to know, hey, do I go down this hallway or that hallway for the cafeteria? They not worried about this dude. Trust me. Monica says nobody did CJ wrong. He did this to himself and with his mouth. Vic didn't degrade him. Vic don't write contracts. CJ coming at the wrong one. CJ should just fall back, period. It's as simple as that. Timework says, understood, Tone. It doesn't have to be a dig, but if you know how the guy you're talking about will take it, then you know you'll poke the bear. Yeah, Timework, I understood. Fair. But in the middle of a press conference, you're not measuring someone's feelings with every word you say. I mean, you're just answering the question and you're not thinking much of it. You're not thinking much of it, but I receive what you're saying. Look, he's not on the team anymore. Like, I'm not, if I'm Fangio, I'm not really thinking about his feelings right now. You know? You want to hope and you want to expect that the player understands that it's ultimately a business. But I do receive what you're saying, Townworks. I receive it for sure. James McFadden says here, all the Eagles are saying to CJ is that it's not you, it's me. What he wants them to do is put all the business out there. Yeah, and that's counterproductive. Quentin Field says, how's your experience with Dan Sileo? It's hard for me to watch him just because of some of the mockery and disrespect he's had with our players. So I'll speak on my experience with Sills. Sileo was a hard worker. He puts in a lot of time and a lot of manpower in what he does. And although I disagree with Sileo on most subjects, we've agreed on some subjects. And that's pretty much it. You know, he gave me an opportunity to have my own segment, my own 30-minute, 45-minute segment on his show. I was the producer behind the scenes, so I pretty much just hit the buttons. Sileo always has autonomy on how he approaches his shows day to day. One thing I will say, no one's feeding Sileo notes. No one's feeding Sileo on what to say. Everything he says is off the dome. And he puts in a lot of work. He puts in a lot of effort. He works very hard. So I respect Cilio's work ethic. I respect him as a colleague, as a man. We just disagree on a lot of things. And we happen to agree on some things. I don't have anything negative to say about him. You know, I really don't. I wish Cilio truly the best. I wish him the best. I wish his family the best. Truly. I mean that sincerely. We're about to get out of here pretty soon, you guys. Alex says, I agree. It's not that big of a deal, but if it get repetitive, teams are only going to be so patient. Alex, I agree 100%. After a while, teams be like, hold on, wait. If you do this about them, what would you do to me? See, this is so funny. You know, Quinyon asking me about my experience with Cilio and ultimately about my experience with Jacob Sports, right? A lot of you guys have asked that. And it's so funny. It falls right in line with this situation here. They always say, never speak ill of your former employer in public. Never speak ill of your former employer. They say that. Never speak ill on the way out. Never speak ill about them to a new employer. Because ultimately, it makes you look bad. It doesn't make them look bad. It makes you look bad. I've had great experiences at Jacob. I've had unfortunate experiences at Jacob. That's okay. That comes with business. That comes with being a professional. Everything doesn't go my way. And I'm okay with that. Every job, you have your good days, you have your not so good days. It's every job, it's every career path. It comes with the territory. But it doesn't serve me to speak ill about Jacob Sports. It doesn't serve me to speak ill about my colleagues that I've gained in working with them. It's counterproductive. And frankly, it hurts my earning potential. So let's bridge the gap here. CJ, why speak ill of your former employer as if your current employer isn't going to see that? It hurts. You're hurting your earning potential because you're leading with ego, you're leading with emotion instead of leading with professionalism. Pride and ego lose money. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. It doesn't serve anybody. If the Eagles put all the business, it doesn't serve them. You doing what you're doing right now, it doesn't serve you. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I'm speaking from personal experience. That's all it is, man. I have nothing but respect for CJ Gardner-Johnson as a player, as a man. I have nothing but respect for him, and I'm grateful for his time in Philadelphia. He will never be forgotten. He will never be an afterthought. And I got respect for my former employers. They were instrumental in my development as a content creator. That's a fact. That is a fact. They were instrumental in my development as a content creator. They were instrumental in me developing my network of people that I can reach out to help make appearances on Jacob. Make appearances on Chalk It Up Sports. So, you know, things end and you pivot. It's just that simple. And CJ, things end. And sometimes you got to pivot. And it's straight like that, you guys. You've been tuned to an amazing episode of Chalk It Up Sports. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I really do appreciate the love. Be more. Thank you for the $2 super sticker, big dog. I really do appreciate you. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Real quick though, we got over 100 people in this live stream. We only got 74 likes. That like button is so important to the overall success of the show. So make sure you guys hit that like button before you get out of here. I beg of you. Make sure you guys hit that like button before you get out of here. Let's try to get that to 100 likes, okay? It's super important. By the way, you guys have options. You guys have the ability to also check out the content, not only on YouTube on the playback, but you can also check out the show on Spotify. You can also check it out on Apple Podcasts as well, okay? And make sure you guys follow me on TikTok and follow me on Instagram and follow me on Twitter. On Twitter, all you got to do is search DeShields and you'll find me at DeShields _. On Instagram and TikTok, you'll find me at Chalk It Up _sports. So make sure you guys check out the content there. You guys are amazing. Relative Time Works with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Time Works. I really do appreciate you, big dog. You've been supporting the show for a long time. You know how we give it up. He says just a little appreciation on the way out. Thank you, Time Works. I appreciate it, man. It means a lot. It means a lot. So again, make sure you guys smash that like button on the way out. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you check it out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure you check me out on TikTok and Instagram at Chalk It Up _sports. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on your dose, this edition of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.